Hello everyone, Anthony Wilson here again. After my last video, I got a lot of the younger players and newer players asking me what I thought about Standard. They were wondering about the decks and the cards that they're going to be seeing and playing against. So I've decided to film a series of videos about some of the decks in Standard right now, pre-rotation and post-rotation. So I think today we're going to start with Red Deck. It's one of my favorite decks, and a lot of players in my area play it, so I thought it would be a good starting point. So let's get to it. Here's what the basic shell of the Red Deck looks like. You get Ball Lightning, Goblin Guide, Hell's Thunder, Hellspark Elemental, Kurgan Dragonlord as your creature base. Burst Lightnings, Lightning Bolts, Searing Blaze, Stagger Shock, Earthquake, and Quenchable Fires as your spell suit. Now, this is a pretty solid list here. The only card I'm unsure about right now is Kurgan Dragonlord. A lot of players are playing it. I think he's kind of underwhelming right now, but after the rotation, I think he'll be pretty solid. So this is what it basically looks like. Some of the major differences you'll see will be pretty minor in the main deck. There'll be pretty small changes in the main deck. The sideboard is where you're going to see a lot of the changes, a lot of the differences, and what sets each deck apart. Here we have Cunning Spark Mage, Basilisk Caller in the sideboard, which is great. They're obviously really great together. You got Siege Gang Commander here, take care of stuff if things go later game. Dragon Claw, obviously for the mirror match. So this is the basic shell of the Red Deck. The major changes we're going to see, major differences between each deck are pretty much just in the sideboard. Whoops, let's go back here. Here's the next one. Here, the difference is Ember Hauler over Hellspark Elemental, which I think is pretty good right now. I still believe that the power of Hellspark Elemental is much better than Ember Hauler. But after the rotation, when we lose Hellspark Elemental, this will be solid. Here's Kurgan Dragonlord again. And like I said, after the rotation, Kurgan Dragonlord and Ember Hauler are going to be two staples in the main deck for the 2-drop slot. Again, the differences. Sideboard, 4 Dragon's Claws, really good in the mirror match. Especially if you get 2 of them out, you pretty much win. Mana Barbs help take care of control decks. Leyline of Punishment, great in the sideboard. Stops cards like Brave the Elements and different stuff to try to give, to prevent damage or gain life. Takes care of Fog, Angel Song, anything like that. Goblin Rune Blaster. It's a great idea in the sideboard. People running around with manlands, destroys Jun's mana base. Great sideboard card here. So, main differences from this deck from the last one. You got Ember Hauler in the main, and like I said, in the sideboard. Here, the creature base in this deck is much different. Some people like to go with Plated Geopede and Kiln Fiend in the 2-drop slot, rather than Ember Hauler and Hellspark Elemental. You see, Hell's Thunder was taken out of this deck completely and replaced with these 2 creatures. Kiln Fiend is pretty amazing. Like I said in my previous video, there is no wasted damage with Kiln Fiend. Now all your burn spells become removal spells. There's no wasted damage, so you can Stagger Shock at the end of turn, and then on your turn, copy Stagger Shot, kill the blocker, swing back with Kiln Fiend for 1 extra point of damage. Pretty amazing. Plated Geopede is obviously good if you're running a bunch of fetch lands, which we are right here. So very solid main deck. Not quite as fast, but probably a lot more stable. Here, decided to run Unstable Footing over the Leyline of Punishment. And this is great because if you need this doubles not only as a way to stop annoying spells that prevent damage, but also can double as a burn spell against control decks. Singleton Mana Barb obviously helps against control decks. And Flame Slash is really good with Kiln Fiend. Flame Slash, you can kill any blockers in the way and swing through with Kiln Fiend. It's probably in here to help take care of Wall of Omens and anything like that. So very solid deck here too. The next deck we're going to look at is slightly different. Actually majorly different. This is what the deck looks like with the Black Splash. Cut down the Ball Lightnings to 2 instead. major changes are in the spell suit. Now you still run the Burst Lightning, Lightning Bolt, Searing Blaze, and Stagger Shocks. Here we're seeing one of Banefire, which helps against control decks. If you need to get those last points of damage through, Banefire is a great way to go. And the addition of Blightning. Blightning is a pretty amazing card. This is pretty much your 3-for-1. You'll get 2 cards out of their hand and hit them for 3 damage all at once. If this resolves against your opponent, it can be kind of devastating depending on when you play it. Adding the Black Splash gives you access to Lava Claw Reaches, which is good if you ain't got nothing for the late game. Your hand is empty, your dudes are gone. You can start swinging through with Lava Claw Reaches, but you can single-handedly kill your opponent if it gets through. It takes 3 minutes to activate, and then it's fire breathing. So it's pretty devastating if you can land a hit with Lava Claw Reaches. We also have Sark the Mad in this deck as a one-of. He's pretty good. If you draw him late, if you draw into him when you need to kill your opponent, he's okay. I'm not sure if I agree with him in this deck. I don't run him in my red-black control deck. Red-black aggro deck, I'm sorry. But I can see him being kind of helpful if you have him at the right time. On the sideboard here, we have some different types of spells. Consuming Vapor helps with any of the Shroud guys. You can't get rid of them. Wall of Denial and Sphinx of Jor-El, which are very, very devastating against red. Doomblade, again, helps you take care of anything that can't be hit by red spells. Core Firewalker and stuff like that. Shatter probably comes in. If somebody comes up into the mirror match with their Dragon Claw, Shatter helps take care of the Dragon Claw. Volcanic Fallout is kind of the Earthquake in this deck. We got the one of Earthquake, the one of Volcanic Fallout. Pretty much serve the same purpose here. Deathmark, again, same thing as Doomblade, helps you take care of Core Firewalker. Also is really good against Jund, because every creature they run is green, so it's a good way of taking care of Jund. And here we see Pithing Needle, which is amazing against Planeswalkers. Some Planeswalkers can be pretty good against red decks, especially the ones that gain you life or prevent damage or create dudes. So Pithing Needle is a great way to shut down a lot of the Planeswalkers. The last deck we're going to take a look at is my red deck. Decided to post my list. Typed it up here, Notepad. My creature base here is pretty much what the rest of them look like. 4 Ball Lightning, 4 Kiln Fiend, 4 Goblin Guide, 4 House Thunder, 4 Hellspark Elemental. Not running the Kirk Dragon Lord. Everything in this deck is meant to kill very quickly. The spell suit is entirely to help Kiln Fiend get through or swing back for the win. I cut down Searing Blaze from 4 to a 3 of. I don't like drawing Searing Blaze late game because if you don't have the land in your hand, Searing Blaze is almost completely useless. So it's okay as a 3 of, but I don't want to draw it too often. I'm also running Fork Bolt in my deck. It helps me kill multiple blockers. If my opponent's putting out chump blockers, it helps me get rid of them. And still works with Kiln Fiend, so I can do 1 to your Land of War Elves and 1 to a token and swing through with Kiln Fiend for 4 damage. My mana base is slightly different as well. I'm only running 4 Scalding Tarns for my fetch lands. I'm also running 3 Valakutes. Valakut is pretty good if your game is going into late game and you're starting to run out of cards and you're worried about your draws. You don't want to draw the land and have it be worthless. So if you have plenty of land into play and you have Valakut in late game, you're still drawing mountains, they're still doing damage. And the thing is, you don't have access to any of the man lands due to the lack of multicolor. You're only monocolored here. Valakut's a great substitute for man lands. So this has been my segment on Red Deck. Hope it's been educational, and watch out for my next one. Thanks.